What's up YouTube? So today is part 10 of the kit build. So I've got some awesome news today. So finally we have a date for the car to go into the garage to get a full respray. So it's going to be roughly about 6 or 7 weeks from now. So what I'm going to do in today's video is give you a walk around, and I'm just going to explain the things that I've done to the car so he's all prepped ready for paint. So if you're building one of these cars, or if you're thinking about doing a full respray on your car, then this video might help. Otherwise you can just follow along my kit build and see exactly what's going on this end. So for those of you that don't know, I bought this car in March 2022, so I've had him now for just over 2 years. When I first bought the car, you can go back on the videos, but when I first bought this Trans Am, it had all the interior, it had carpets and everything in there. It didn't have the clear glass rear hatch, I had to get that. It didn't have the spoiler either. It didn't have the plate. This is my actual private plate that I'm going to use for kit, so KRZ 2000s. Pretty awesome, hey? So there's lots of things I've done on the car. Oh, and of course the most important one I almost forgot is the engine bay. So for those of you that don't know, I did oik the engine out, and the whole engine bay got resprayed in gloss black, and then the whole engine had a once over, changed lots of different parts of the engine. We had a new timing chain, lots and lots of other stuff. I won't go into the details now. You can go back and watch that video. I forgot half the things I've changed down, but the whole engine has been taken out. As you can see, it's all been sprayed. The engine bay's been sprayed, so it's looking nice. New battery, new coolant reservoir, windscreen bottle as well, pipes, radiators, oil coolers, pipes, hoses, you name it, we've changed it. So it's looking pretty good. So on to the actual paint job then. Well, as I said, things are looking good. He should be going in for paint in about 6 to 7 weeks time. I'm just going to go through the things that I've done for the paint shop, because these are things that, in my opinion, are absolutely crucial. Well, first things first, I just want to take the key out because I'll need that to get in the trunk. Well, I hope you like my key ring anyway. Look at that. That little bad boy. Right, so the first thing I'm going to say is the roof has to be changed. Yeah, you probably know this. Yeah, this is a hardtop. So the roof has to be changed into a T-bar. That is the very first thing they're going to do in the paint shop. So the T-bar is over here. That's the T-bar roof. I've had that now for, oh God, months. I think I bought it middle part of last year, so I've probably had this now sat here for about 9 months, well, I don't know, 7 months, something like that, about 7 or 8 months. I've also got the turbo hood there with the scoop. Now what the paint shop needs to do is they're going to need to cut that out and then put that on my current hood, because my current hood sits really well. Now if they have any other ideas, they're going to let me know. But we're just gonna see what happens when it goes into the paint shop. But the very first thing they're going to do is change the roof. Okay. So what they're going to need to do is, of course, take the glass out. What I am going to need to do is probably I'm going to have to buy another glass, because when they put the new roof onto the car, if they happen to break this glass when they remove it, they're not going to be able to use it as a template, because the way I'm thinking is it'll be good to have another glass there, so when they put the new roof on, they can offer the glass up to make sure everything lines up nicely. Now, I'm sure they've thought about all of that. These guys are very, very good. I've got full confidence in them. I'm sure everything will be okay. So the roof is going to be the first thing that they do. In the back there, you can see I have that is the actual nose. That's the Knight Rider nose. So that's all ready to go on the car. Obviously, it just needs to be sprayed and prepped and everything. You'll also see here I've taken all of the wipers off. The wipers are off, and also in there, look, it's a mess. So when they come to actually do the roof, all of this section here is probably going to get covered in crap, as you know, along with everything else. But what I am going to try and do is I'm going to try to make sure that they cover the engine bay up. Now, now in hindsight, yes, it would have been perfect if I could have just got the entire car sprayed all at the same time, but that would have cost me far too much money at the time, and it would have been gone for too long. So that is the reason why I couldn't do the entire respray of the car when I did the engine bay. So for those of you that are probably thinking, well, Paul, why didn't you just do the whole thing at the same time? Well, yeah, I would have, but money didn't allow it at the time. It was 2 years ago when I did the engine bay. Well, no, probably less than that. It was about a year and a half ago. And at the time, I only had a certain budget to do the engine. I didn't have enough money to do the rest of the car. Anyway, moving on. So when they do the roof, they swap the roof out for the T-bar. Once that is done, they can then begin to do the rest of the car. Another job they need to do is underneath, they need to underseal. They need to do the underseal under the car, and also just tweak the exhaust. If I go down here, you can see, you probably can't see too much, but that is actually a new exhaust. There you go, you can just see a little bit. It's quite low to the ground. Now, when I changed some parts of the engine, we put new engine mounts in, and because we had new engine mounts, that then raised the engine up by 5 or 6 mil, which then altered the position of the exhaust. So the exhaust needs to get changed slightly, that needs to be tweaked. Once they've done that, they will then clean the underside of the car and then underseal it. Once they've done that, they can then spray the entire car. So spraying the car is going to be the last job. Once all these other bits are done, I would imagine anyway. I think they might do the underseal last and the exhaust first. Sorry, the exhaust next, and then the underseal, and then they'll probably finish by spraying the car. But I'll leave it up to them. So they're the other two jobs that need to be done. So we've got the roof, the underseal, moving the exhaust, and then also spraying the entire car. Now, I've made it as easy as possible for them as I possibly can when it comes to them spraying the car, because I've removed quite a few parts off the car already. I've removed the front bumper, as you can see, the front nose. All of the crash bar is going to need to get sprayed. I've done these are actually my lights that I've sprayed with tint. I bought some paint, and the reason why I've done it like that, so these are actually my turn signals, my indicators. Yeah. So you can't see them when they sit at the end of the car in the grille area, but you will be able to see the two spotlights, the two fog lights. And that's why I've done it like that, so that those lights don't get seen, so they're not very visible from a distance when you look at kit. Because my last car, you could see the indicators at the ends, the turn signals, not that easily, but this is like just a little trick that I found. A friend of mine mentioned it to me, and I thought it was a really good little idea. So you tint the actual plastic, so from a distance you can't see them. Anyway, moving on. So all of this section will be sprayed. Hopefully they're going to cover the entire engine bay, and then the hood is going to come off. All of this crap's going to come off, so they're going to spray underneath everything on the hood, and hopefully they're going to be able to put the turbo vent on this hood. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, Paul, why don't you just go out and buy a turbo hood and be done with it? Well, yeah, I would, but they're very, very difficult to find here in the UK, and the ones that are for sale are just crazy money. So I've managed to get a vent. This actual hood is not very good. It's awful on the inside. It's all rusty and everything. I don't know if you can see it. I'll show you a little bit. Look, you can see it's not very good. So that is the reason why I haven't used this particular hood. So that this is actually a steel hood, so they're going to hopefully cut this out, put that turbo vent on my current hood. That's going to be the other job that they do. Obviously there's all prep work involved. They have to, cut out the vent, weld it onto there, smooth everything down, so a little bit of work involved there. The other job, or the other jobs that I've done to make it easier for them, is I've removed the wing mirrors. I've also taken off everything on the doors to make it easier for them. So I've even removed the door glass on the other side. Now I do need to replace that. The door glass is here on this one, so they will probably be able to just move that forward when they spray inside that door there, so they can just pull that down like that. But everything else is off the door, nice and easy. Obviously this is all going to get removed. This is probably going to get cut from about there and then about there, and the whole thing's going to come off. The rear hatch, the rear glass, one of my favourite parts of the entire car. Yeah, this needs obviously a bit of work. You can see down here, look. So all this needs to be prepped and cleaned. So another one there, look. So I've removed them to make it nice and easy. I've removed everything at the back. Obviously the number plate will have to get removed. What I will quickly do is just undo this. Just trying to think. Oh, there you go. It's that one. There she is. Lovely. One of the things I have had to do is change these arms because they were too stiff before. Now, if any of you actually get the same problem, I'll tell you what the problem is. When these are too stiff and you have to really push the trunk down and you feel like you're almost going to snap something, the problem is these are of course too strong. These come in different strengths, so depending if you have a rear spoiler and a rear wiper arm on your rear hatch will depend on the strength of these. Now I know it doesn't make much sense because you think, well, a spoiler and maybe a wiper arm isn't going to be that much more weight, but that is the way the third gens do it. This is the way they do it at the factory for some reason. They think that because you've got a spoiler and a wiper arm, you need extra strong struts. Well, I'm not going to argue that. All I do know is that when you buy these and you want them to be the slightly less powerful struts, just make sure you choose them. Make sure you choose the struts that are suitable for rear hatches without wiper arms and without spoilers. That's what I did, and this works fine because I had to use two arms before. When I bought the car, it had really strong struts on, so I've changed them and now you can pull it down with one arm. So a good little test is if you can't pull your rear hatch down with one arm quite easily, then they're far too strong. I would change them. Got some stuff in the back there as well. One of the things we did have to change is the motor. Well, we had to fix all of this. It wasn't working, the motor that pulls the rear hatch down. Also the fuel pump as well, which is in there, we had to change parts of the fuel pump, and then we had to reattach this hatch on there. Obviously you're not going to see any of that because it's all going to be covered up with carpet at some point. So the back, all this rubber here will come off. That will come off, and I think we're going to have to make this video a little bit quicker than I would like, because it looks like it's going to rain soon. Doesn't look very good. So where are we then? So both doors are done. All the interior, I know it looks a bit of a mess, but it's fine. I probably won't advise them to drive the car. What I may do is just disconnect the battery, so every time they move the car around, they just push it. I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm going to have to speak to them and then decide nearer the time. The only reason I say that is because if they have to drive the car, that means the engine bay can't get covered up permanently. So when the car gets there, they could cover the engine bay up and then just leave it covered up. It means that less dust will get in there. If they have to keep driving the car back and forth, obviously you don't want the engine bay covered up in case something falls in case any debris falls into the engine bay, you know, any cloths or paper or anything. So that's my thinking of it. That's why I'm thinking to myself, well, it might be best if they just cover the engine bay. I can disconnect the battery, cover the engine bay up completely. Well, they can do that when they get there, and then once the engine bay is covered up, obviously they're going to come underneath here, so they're going to cover, I mean, you know, I don't know, I'll leave it to them, but I will tell them, I will certainly advise them, you know, please be very careful with the engine bay. I'm sure they will be. I wouldn't be taking my car to them if I didn't have any faith in them. So the glass is going to need to get changed. I need to get a new glass for this. That's going to be quite expensive. I think I did see the price of them, and I think they're about £240, which is about $300, I believe. But I can get a new glass. I may have to get that sent to the actual workshop, so that's more expense. Oh, and another big thing I'm going to have to get them to do is my vents on my fenders are going to have to get changed, because they are not sitting flush, as you can see, with the fenders. So these are going to have to get changed somehow, so I'm going to ask them if they can do something about that. They may have to do some work behind and then bring it forward and then sand it all down, and then, you know, so there's going to be extra work there, extra prep work and extra work. But I don't want these to be proud of the actual fender. I want these to be nice and flush. That's exactly how my last Night Rider car was. So that's another thing. Little things like this are going to have to get removed. Yeah, my wing mirrors are there, look, you can see. But as I said, the inside, I know it looks a bit of a mess. I deliberately left it like this so it was nice and easy for us to get to all the electronics. So when the car comes back and it's been sprayed, we can then go into the car and start running wires everywhere, and we can easily see what we're looking at. Because when you've got the dashboard in, you can't see anything. There you go. So you can see that, I know it's a bit of a mess, or it looks like a bit of a mess, I know, but all the parts are in the garage. I know where everything goes. It's mainly just the whole front dash that has been removed, and then you've got, you know, all the vent system, and there's more wires and wiring looms, but everything is still here. We know where everything goes. We've got the center console, which we need to do as well. Oh, and another cool little thing I've recently got is a 1982 parking brake handle. So that is actually a screen accurate 1982. I mean, it might be an 84, 83, but that is a screen accurate parking brake handle as far as I know, because the one I had in my last car wasn't screen accurate. Not that that really makes a huge bit of difference, but you know, all these little things do make a big difference at the end, don't they? I will get rid of the wing mirror as well. Sorry, not the wing mirror, the rear view mirror. This will get removed. So when we change the actual the windshield, as you Americans like to call it, the windscreen, when we change the windscreen, I'm not going to put another mirror on it. I don't have mirrors on my cars. You don't actually legally need a mirror in your car. So for those of you that live in the UK, you don't actually need a mirror in your car in order for it to be road legal. You know, hence some vans and trucks don't need rear view mirrors. So you don't actually need one. It's just to make it easier. It's just more convenience really for the driver. So there you go. Yeah, so it's good news. Going in for paint in about 6 to 7 weeks time. So what's going to happen is they're going to come out with a big trailer, and they're going to put the car on the back of a trailer and then take it off. And then I reckon they will probably have it for around, it's hard to say, but I would say a couple of months. So I'm hoping by about the 1st of May, I think by the 1st of May, hopefully it should be gone. So that will be just over 2 years then, by the time it goes in for paint and gets a full spray job. It'll be just over 2 years since I bought the car. I haven't managed to do this one as quick as my first kit, as I'm sure you all know, but it's one of them things. I've had lots of stuff going on this time, and life gets in the way sometimes, and you just have to crack on the best you can. Not really much you can do sometimes, but there you go. But the engine bay, definitely one of my favourite parts of the car. If I had to say what my favourite parts of the car are, I would say there's 3 parts now on this particular car at this very moment that I really like. Firstly, the 15-inch wheels. Oh wow, honestly, it sits so much better with 15-inch wheels. I had 14s on my last kit, and yes, it looked really nice, and to be honest, I didn't really overthink it, because I thought, well, I didn't want to go and invest £2,000 on 15-inch wheels with brand new tyres and caps. So I kind of just left it. But ever since I've had this car and it's got 15-inch wheels on, honestly, it just sits so much nicer. Now the fronts look really good, okay, but the back, some of you will probably notice that the back is sitting a little bit higher than it should. This is something that I need to sort out at a later date. I think it could be the springs that I've got on the rear. I think the springs I've got might be a little bit too big. Now when I bought them, they were just standard springs from Rock Auto, I think, but for some reason it sits a little bit too high. Now one of the things I did think was perhaps it could be because there's no weight in the car, and I was thinking, well, maybe if I get some weight in the car it will sit down. Well, that is wishful thinking, because that would need a lot of weight. I've tested it. If I sit in the back of the car, I mean, I'm like 85 kilo. If I sit in the back of the car, it doesn't do anything. It may go down about 2 mil. And I actually measured the distance between the top of the wheel and the arch, and a friend of mine sent me the measurement, and my car actually sits about 50 mil higher. Now of course, once I put weight in the car and I get a battery in the back and I get the carpet and I get everything else, yes, it's going to be a little bit heavier, but is it really going to be 100 kilos heavier? Because that's what it's going to need, at least 100 kilos of weight in that back for that to come down. So there's something definitely wrong there somewhere. I think it could be my rear springs, but we'll sort that out at some stage. That isn't a huge issue at the moment. So there you go, guys, that is the update. So the car is now fully prepped. I've done lots of extra things over the last 6 months, just little bits and pieces really. I mean, I've got the lights out, the lights are there. All these are going to get sprayed as well. They're going to get sprayed in gloss black. Even the surrounds for the lights are going to get they're going to get cleaned up and prepped. So lots of stuff to do when we put the car back together again, but that will be good fun, because once it goes in for paint and it comes back, at least it will look nice. So yeah, we are making progress. So the countdown is now on. So I would say about 6 to 8 weeks from now, I would say probably early May. It should be going in early May. I will keep you all updated though and let you know what's going on. So what I'm going to do, I think, is put kit away now, because the weather doesn't look too good. It looks, it's a little bit more clear over there, but this video has been going on long enough now. So any questions, any comments, leave them below the video. If there's anything else that you want to say, anything else that you disagree with, just leave your comments below. I'm always open to feedback. But this is going to be much nicer than my last car, put it that way. And I've said this many times before, and I don't want anyone to think that I didn't like my last car. I did. It was an absolutely spectacular car. But this car, there's just a few things that I'm going to change. I've got 15-inch wheels, I've done the engine bay, I'm going to have slightly different electronics, and this is automatic as well, and I've got the clear glass rear hatch. So this is certainly going to be a little bit different, and there's just certain things on it that I'm going to be so much more relieved to have, especially things like the rear hatch. I mean, I just think on these Night Rider cars, I think the rear hatch is a very, very special added extra. I think if you can get a rear hatch for your Trans Am, I just think it makes them look really, really nice, extra special, especially when you look at the Trans Ams from this sort of angle at the back, and you can see all the way through into the back of the car through the nice clear glass at the back there. I just think it gives it a lovely finish. So I do still have to get the black out. I'm going to get a piece of black Perspex for that. That isn't something that we need to do quite yet. We do have our PMD seats. We also do have our scanner, so the Night Rider scanner will be going in at the front there. We've got that all tucked away in the cupboard. So we've got the scanner, we've got the PMD seats, we have the Night Rider nose, we also have the decals, the Night Rider decals that go along there. We've actually already ordered them and we've got them here ready. But there you go, guys, that is the update. So great news, finally we are there. Woohoo! 6 or 7 weeks countdown until the car goes in for a paint job. One thing I will say, I will leave this with you, because this is actually some more brilliant news. I wasn't going to tell everybody this until I got the video back. However, the garage that the car's going to go into to get sprayed, they have informed me, they said that they will do a time-lapse video of the roof swap, and they are going to send it to me. So I will get that. So you're going to actually see exactly how they do it in a time-lapse video. So it'll probably take a couple of days for them to do it, but the whole thing will be on video, so you can watch them and see how they do it. So there's a lot of work that goes into these roof swaps. It isn't straightforward at all. So that is another big bonus about these guys that I'm going to use to spray the car. They said that I can use the video afterwards. They're going to give me the video of it, so that's awesome stuff. So yeah, really appreciate that. But there you go, he is making progress now and we're kind of back on track. But anyway, that is it from me. I could talk for hours about this car, but there you go. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We will hopefully have lots more videos for you coming up this year with the build, because there's lots more things now I'm working on. We've got the seats to do, we've got the interior that we're going to have to do when the car comes back. Once the car does go away, there's other jobs I need to do in between to get things moving, and I need to order more parts. But there you go. So thanks for watching today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. That's just another update. That is part 10 of the kit build. I hope you're enjoying the build so far, even though we've had a few problems along the way, but these things happen. That is life, I'm afraid. But that is it for today's video. Thanks everybody. We will see you again very soon in the next video coming up. I don't know when, but just stay tuned on Funky Projects.